start off to find somebody, I find them.
I know nothing at all about that case of coins.
I'm only interested in what name Jackson's hiding under now.
Carson. Bill Carson. That's what he calls himself now.
Tuco, Benedicto, Pacifico, Juan Maria Ramirez, wanted in 14 counties of this state, crimes of murder, armed robbery of citizens, state banks, and post offices.
Hey, amigo, you know you've got a face beautiful enough to be worth $2,000?
Yeah, but you don't look like the one who'll collect it. How much are you worth now?
People with ropes around their necks don't always hang.
What do you mean?
Even a filthy beggar like that has got a protecting angel.
$3,000.
The name Jackson's hiding under, Bill Carson. He also mentioned something about a certain, cash box.
I'll keep the money and you can have the rope. Adios.
I'll rip your heart out and eat it.
Whoever double-crosses me and leaves me alive, he understands nothing about Tuco. $200,000 in gold. Cemetery. Which cemetery? On Sand Hill. Don't die, I'll get you water. What did he tell you?
Name on a grave.
We could have all that money in our hands.
$200,000, a lot of money. We're gonna have to earn it.
Was Carson dead or alive when you found him? What did he tell you about the money? I know the name of the cemetery now, and you know the name of the grave. But when I'm paid, I always see the job through.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another Late to the Game, where we host this last weekend's football games. Who's making the playoffs this year, guys? We've got numbers going. Not messing around. It is late to the party. I am your host, Isaac. This week's movie was The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. This movie, I actually didn't even do my homework. I'm so sorry.
It made 5 times its money back. I know that for sure.
It has an 8.8 out of 10 on the IMDb rating, and it's very popular. It's from 1966. It was rated R and it was a runtime of 2 hours and 58 minutes. Did you guys get through this in one sitting, or did you guys have to watch it in multiple sittings?
I got through it in one sitting.
Same. Director was Sergio Leone, and I don't know, man. Clint Eastwood and the whole team and everybody in this movie, it was fantastic. And whose first time was it seeing this?
Honestly,
I've watched snippets with my dad because this was one of his favorite movies, but I've never actually watched it all the way through. And I wish I would have watched all the way through with him when he first was watching it when I was younger, because I think I'd have a special connection right there with them. And this movie was fantastic. I'm going to go right into it asking Josh, because they've got that Civil War aspect, and I know how much of a Civil War buff this guy is. So let's get right into it.
Yeah, that was actually one of the things that surprised me about the movie. Most Westerns take place in a time frame similar to when Tombstone took place, which is usually early 1880s. But this movie takes place an entire 20 years before that point. And so for me, that was fascinating that you have this kind of cowboy western, ethic going on in the midst of Civil War battles that are taking place, I think, in Arizona and New Mexico, if I'm not mistaken, were the supposed settings of the film. And there was enough attention to detail. Liz picked up on it at first, and I didn't even do it, but they were singing, the Confederates were singing Southern battle songs. And I didn't even notice at first that they were doing it, but oddly enough, I knew the lyrics. So
we were singing along.
Yeah.
It was karaoke night for part of it.
You guys are such hillbillies.
The South shall rise again.
The War of Northern Aggression.
What was your first impression of this since it's your first shot?
Well, I think it was like you. I've seen parts of it because this is one of my dad's favorite westerns of all time, and we got to watch it with him. So it was kind of fun watching him watch it too. But seeing it all the way through, I didn't realize they made movies 3 hours long back in the 60s. I thought that was more of a modern thing, unless you were looking at Ben-Hur or some epic MGM film that they were doing on these huge sound. Yeah, I wasn't prepared for a 3-hour movie, but I liked it. It's great, and I am sad that I haven't that I didn't sit down and watch it fully all the way through. It was well acted, and it was a lot funnier than I thought it was going to be too. A lot of times when you see these westerns, it's more like, okay, shoot them up, and then they ride for a bit, and then shoot them up, and then somebody dies, and then it's revenge, and then let's go shoot them up some more, and then there's an epic showdown in the streets, and then that's it. This was a lot more humorous. Yeah, there's a lot of little subtle humor that was in this that I just wasn't prepared for, and it was great. I like that. I like that aspect of it.
So when I was planning to watch this movie, I was planning on watching it in brackets, and then when I sat down to watch it, I didn't get away from the movie till it was over.
Yeah.
I was surprised that I watched all the way through. I was like, holy crap! I was only planning on watching it for an hour, at 9 at night, and I didn't finish it till 1 in the morning. I was like, damn, this is dope. Good movie. Lego, compared to El Topo, how does the film compare?
I mean, El Topo is kind of like the Black Mirror episode, right? If this is your polished archetype of a Western, El Topo kind of follows the same sort of, storyline, plotline, but it's just got a much darker veneer to it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Jose, you being a huge Quentin Tarantino fan, did you see any things that Quentin had stolen from Sergio or used as an homage to this film?
I think a lot of people have used this as everyone's done an homage to this now. That when I was sitting down, I was thinking of El Topo, and I was like, I know Nate had mentioned about how he didn't like museums and how that's why he didn't like El Topo. It was too artsy. But I felt like this one was also artsy as hell. There was so many things that he did that were from the opening, those opening credits to I like the whole idea of the good, the bad, the ugly, already telling us there's just so many layers to it, man. And I felt like I was watching a more, I was gonna say an American version of El Topo, but the funny thing is that I don't even think this was American, right? Sergio Leone was he, Italian?
I believe so. Yeah.
So it's
this is a spaghetti western. This is a spaghetti western.
I was like,
so there was during I want to say 10 years. There's a decade where there was a lot of westerns that were filmed in Italy, and if you guys they probably had. Did you recognize kung fu voice actor voices in this movie, where some of the Confederates, when they were talking, their mouths weren't moving to what they were saying, and they almost had the same freaking voiceovers that they had from kung fu movies. The guy sounded like, "You killed my master. They're coming over the hill." I was like, "Oh, that's dope."
Well, a lot of the filming actually took place in Spain. And I think they had a lot of Spanish extras during those scenes, which included a lot of the Civil War battle scenes.
Yeah, and before this film was the Fistful of Dollars, that was the Man with No Name. This is, I would say, a sequel.
Yeah, there's a third one for a few dollars more.
Yeah.
Yeah, just all in all, like everything, the way everything he did stylistically was, it was just like right up there with like being that artsy sort of film. And I can see like, dude, all of Django Unchained. I was like, oh, dude, that whole movie was like almost an homage to this. And what I really liked about it too was just like El Topo. I feel like a lot of those old school westerns, like the guy was like the best looking actor they could find at the time, and he was so clean. And the West, and like this movie was like, it's just like the name says, it was a really ugly movie. The other thing that I really liked and appreciated was that at the very beginning they tell us who the good guy is, who the bad guy is, and the ugly and all that. But it like, where's the line? Because what's his name? Angel Eyes only kills like the first 3 people. And then after that, he doesn't kill anybody. But Blondie goes on like a freaking murderous rampage, and he ends up killing more people than the bad guy does. And I was like, yo, what's that about? I was like, we literally, and like, wasn't it like in self-defense? Like, wasn't Angel Eyes in self-defense? One of them was in self-defense. And then, and Blondie's over here, he's supposed to be the good, and yet he kills countless amounts of people. Like, he kills everybody. And it's like, so what makes the bad guy, really?
Well, the good guy's good at killing.
Good guy.
Like I said, man, it was just, I was kind of like, there must be a layer there. Like, there must be something up for discussion there. That wasn't just done accidentally. That was done purposely. And dude, like, I'm just gonna say it. Like, my favorite scene, man, was the one where I was like, Jesus, was the musician, where he's playing to cover up the torture, and then when he breaks down, I was like, dog, like, what did this dude do? Like, oh, he just freaking nailed that so beautifully. Like, as a director and as an actor, like, it was just perfect. It was that scene was like, I was like, wow, that was it. Like, that's it. Well, that, and then the one where the guy's assembling all the pistols, which reminded me of the episode of The Simpsons where he said, where Mo says, and that's with a couple minor modifications, you can turn 5 guns into 1 gun. And I was just freaking rolling. I was like, what? He's taking a pistol and he's arming, like, that was funny too. It was like Liz said, those little small, it had that like right amount of comedy where it's like, see you soon. It says idiots. It's for you. Like, dude, it was so, yeah, so well crafted. It's just like, damn, dude, like, like, I can't believe I'd never seen this movie before.
Nate, your first impression of this film?
I mean, like, the original, I knew it was going to be good. This movie's freaking legendary. I knew it was going to be good. I knew that I was going to be able to come out of this and sit down with you guys and be like, see, Lego, this is what a Western should be. because like Jose had alluded to, it was like, maybe I didn't convey my thoughts properly. I like museums. I just like art that I can look at that's obviously art. I mean, we all like comics and things like that. It's when somebody sticks the tampon on the wall and says it's art and says, you aren't sophisticated enough to like this stupid shit. You don't understand that I don't like. I mean, the thinker,
it wasn't
like,
a tampon though. It was a banana.
There you go. See, I didn't see it, you know.
And he didn't allude to anything. He just straight out called you out on it.
No, but I mean, this had there was subtleties, but you could still follow the plot and pick up on the artisticness with it. So I don't want to take away anything from El Topo. To me, it was what it was to me. And I can't I can't tell you what it would be to you. And, I do think that some people see art with the tampon on the wall. I'm not going to say that they don't. But I also think that there's lots of people that walk in there and they say that they see art because they're trying to fit in with those people who have the berets and the cigarettes with the sticks on them that are snapping when they see stuff. So this movie was fantastic, man. From the rooter to the tutor, from the front to the back, it was good. There wasn't anything unnecessary. I even think they did a really solid job with Clint Eastwood's makeup when he was all dehydrated and sunburnt. You know, I was trying to look at it. I was like, man, he looks like the Mummy's Revenge.
His lips look messed up, dude.
Both of their
Those are
lips
awesome.
look messed up.
Go put chapstick on because it was just like I'm all dehydrated.
I like
Chapstick's a scam. It has sodium in it. Don't do it.
I like how you see the man with no name just chilling, and as they're doing their whole little ruse of the bounty hunting and the hanging, and he's just sitting there. He's standing there and he's watching from afar. And I remember them saying that they based Boba Fett's look off of Clint Eastwood's The Man with No Name, and you can tell that they really made him study, like him just standing away and just watching. That was pretty cool to finally actually see it in the movie instead of just stills. Yeah. Best scene. Jose already said his. I'll start with Josh.
Man, it's hard not to pick the final scene, the gunfight between the three of them. The way that is set up. Since I had not seen the movie before, and during the film, you definitely get the sense that all three of these men are very capable gunfighters. You know, we had that scene where Tuco steals the gun from the gun shop and he goes out back to test it out and just, you know, absolutely demolishes the targets. We know that Angel Eyes is a deadly shot. And of course, we've seen the Man with No Name take his shots all over the place. So having the three of them out there and you're like, how is this going to go down? And they're staring at each other. And then then you realize that Blondie has removed all the bullets from Tuco's gun, so Tuco was never really a threat. And he's just, but he plays it off anyway, because you know the scene, you know, builds where he's looking at Tuco, and then he's looking at Angel Eyes, and then Tuco's looking at Blondie, and then he looks at, you know, they're looking back and forth, but actually Tuco's not even part of this whole thing. It's just Angel Eyes and Blondie. And then, you know, of course, he takes out Angel Eyes. And the way that the scene wraps up is great when he walks up and he says, you know, Tuco, there's only two kinds of people in the world. Those with guns and those who dig. Get digging.
It makes you question though if Tuco really is a badass gunman, because he doesn't even know the difference between a loaded gun and a unloaded gun. It's like, what?
That's the thing about that's the thing about Tuco though, as the ugly. He's always like disheveled, like one of his boots doesn't even have like the toes anymore. It's like his toes are sticking out all the time. You know, and he doesn't tuck his gun into a holster like the other two. He wears it like in a rope around his neck, you know, and just like hanging there. He's like this dirty bastard, like just total scumbag. And I you know, he probably doesn't notice because he's also half drunk. So
that's true.
There you go.
Liz, favorite or worst?
I think mine actually, because those are all really good ones, but the bathtub scene where Tuco goes and he gets into the bathtub and you just see him smelling stuff and he puts the stuff in and he starts, and he gets in it and that guy walks in on him and starts talking to him and Tuco just pulls out his gun and shoots him. And what's great about that is that that's a throwback, Die Hard takes that scene, because Tuco's comment to him is, you know, next time stop talking and just start shooting. And that's a scene in Die Hard where that guy's on the table. Next time, you know what, you should just blast and don't start talking. And, you know, McClane blasts him through the thing and he goes, thanks for the advice, you know, and it ties into the whole Western thing that way too. So even Die Hard has pulled a little bit out of that. And I was like, oh shit, that's kind of cool. But like, just Tuco's just like, he's still taking his bath.
Yeah,
while the guy's still doing his thing, and he's just like, all right, and his gun's just in the water with him too, and he just pulls it out and he just shoots the guy from the inside of the tub, and then, you know, he's just done. And then Clint Eastwood like walks in a little later rattling at the door, and he just looks at him like, bro, what are you doing? Like, why are you at the door? I'm standing right here. What's going on? Like, that whole scene was just kind of fun for me. And the fact that, like I said, that where you saw another modern, kind of a modern Western with Die Hard, pulling that little bit out of it. So, yeah, I like that scene.
Lego.
Damn. I have got to say, I really like that scene where Tuco's, he's noosed up. They're executing him. And Clint Eastwood, shoots him down. And he's just seeing that whole dynamic was so cool. And, how much you worth now? $2,000? I don't think you're going to be worth more than $2,000. I think our partnership's off. He tosses him. It's like, it's so good. It's just the movie's not without humor, like Liz said, and it's still so badass. I feel like there's probably a whole generation of young boys out there who played Clint Eastwood, who are running around the backyard pretending to be the gunman. And I think this movie probably had a pretty damn profound effect on American society.
Nice. Nate, your favorite scene?
My favorite scene, well, you guys have named several of them, so I'm just going to rattle off a scene that I thought was pretty important. And it was when they had come across the soldiers at the bridge, and you could see the just the bloodshed that was happening. The captain, he was obviously like shell-shocked as hell. And he ends up almost suiciding himself in that fight for the bridge that they keep on fighting over and over and over again for. And you can see, like, when they finally blow the bridge up to disperse all of those things so they can get through to the graveyard, the captain looks over and sees the bridge is gone, and you just, like, he has like he dies with the elation because he knows that nobody else is going to die anymore. So I thought that was pretty magical for sure.
Nice. All right, wrapping up.
Interestingly, before Jose goes, interestingly, during the filming of the movie, they had to do that bridge detonation twice. The first time it didn't detonate correctly, but it still wrecked the bridge. They had to rebuild the whole thing and rewire the thing to blow it up a second time. And Clint Eastwood actually made a comment in one of the like kind of making of the films. He said, "Oh, it's because the Spanish laborers were no good." He goes, "If you were doing a movie about the conquistadors, they would have been very attentive to detail. But since it was a Western, they didn't give a damn."
All right, Jose, round us up with the buckets.
Oh, dude, really? No question. 10 out of 10. The way that it establishes, like, what I also appreciated was the use of silence. Like, I think that's a very that's a very underused technique. And man, I'm telling you, from like I also like the really far away shots that he did that established like you see the character moving at a very huge distance. You appreciate the landscape, the way that he uses silence. Like, for example, that final, like that shootout scene, that Mexican standoff scene, the way that silence and then the music builds up. And it's like, the whole thing was just freaking amazing. At 3 hours long, there was nothing that I felt needed to be taken out. Like there was no waste of time. It's incredible. And we don't see that. And I'm going to go as far as to say, I want a Blondie or a Good, Bad, Ugly, like action figure or statue or something. That's how much I liked it. It's like, I don't go out of my way to try and find action figures or something from a movie unless I absolutely like it. And this is just one of those now. I kind of want like a Steelbook edition. Like I said, I'm just real grateful that I got to watch it now, and I really appreciate it. So for me, it's 10 out of 10, dude. No question.
Nice. Nate.
When we come across certain gems like this movie, we can go down especially when we were doing the wheel movies, we went down the rabbit hole of just a bunch of movies that, make me even question why we're even doing this. It's just some of those movies were such shit that, or they're not shit, but they don't deserve to be reviewed. Really, they don't deserve to. There's a reason why we didn't go to that party, because we didn't want to go to that party. This is the kind of movie that reinvigorates me in producing this show and making this show. It makes me feel proud that we're doing this and that we get to talk about this stuff. So let's just go old school acting, 2 buckets, full on acting, full on script, cultural relevance, oozing with cultural relevance. The story that was amazing, and the directing was amazing. And was it fun to watch? Absolutely. A 3-hour watch that you can just sit through the whole thing. I mean, I was like holding my pee through scenes. I could have paused it and went to the bathroom, but I was like, oh, what's Tuco gonna do? And Tuco as the flip-flop good guy villain, this was, I want to say, more about Tuco than anything. He really stole the show. So this movie's an easy 10 buckets.
Lego Beast.
I think it's obvious that I'm going to give this a 10, so I'll just get that out of the way. But we do comic review every week, so I kind of got to tie it back to comics. But with this movie, the directing is so brilliant, because we see those ultra close-ups, we see those long shots, and we see the mid shots used a little bit more sparingly. And I think you see that with a lot of great comic artists. They're not afraid to push the limits on what they do with close-ups, what they do with long shots. They're not they're not constrained by just mid shots where everybody's standing in the middle of the panel. And this movie is ultra it's like that. It's very dynamic in its feel and its approach, and the music's the same way. It's silent, it's loud. The fucking sound design on the whole thing is just great. So easy 10 out of 10. Cultural relevance, all the other reasons that you guys have already mentioned, but it's a great movie. It's phenomenal.
Scott, starting with Liz.
Well, you guys have all said it, so it's a 10. There you go. For all the reasons you guys have said, so take it away.
Yeah, obviously it's a 10. It was mentioned before, but I really appreciate the setting out of the characters for who they were at the very beginning. And I know that Tuco and Blondie kind of steal the show, but Angel Eyes, this guy, what was his name? Gosh, I was just looking it up even today. I remember Eli Wallach, who was Tuco. Anyway, the guy who plays Angel Eyes, he looks like a villain. He's got the narrow eyes and the hawkish features, and even the villain's mustache. In the Italian version, he's called the Sentence, or the Judgment. You know what I mean? He's this harsh, cut character that does these things. But the casting is perfect for the roles that these guys fulfill. And this movie was an excellent juxtaposition with El Topo. We get this Western, and then we get another Western. And, given the difference in the two styles and the different directions that they were going in, this movie really kind of drives home the idea that we just really didn't need an El Topo at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
That kind of uncultured response is precisely why we do need El Topo.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, this was a easy 10. A fantastic film. You guys touched all of it. It was perfect. Lee Van Cleef was the actor.
He was also a bad guy from one of the American Ninja movies in the 80s too.
Yeah, and he was also
Really?
in What was it called? Escape from New York.
Or maybe
Oh,
not.
yeah.
It was either American Ninja or like those Pray for Death, like Shokusugi ones that they had. Like,
Well,
something.
I know I pointed out to you guys earlier that Tuco was one of the Mr. Freezes from the 66 Batman series. They had 3 different guys playing Mr. Freeze, and the guy who played Tuco was one of them. And he was also in the Godfather movies. So he did his rounds as well.
Ugly Freeze.
Yes.
Well, he was the ugly.
And it's worth noting Breaking Bad got the name Tuco from that Tuco. So
Nice.
I am.
Very nice. All right. Well, there you have
Who's
it.
hosting next week?
That's Liz, the lizard.
All right.
I have my movie already picked, so.
Well, we can do it. Let's talk about it. We used to do that. I liked it. Let's.
All right. Well, since we kind of gone and started with a theme, I'm like, man, why the hell not? Let's Liz pick a Western too. So it's not as artsy as El Topo, and it's not as, I don't know, I guess the spaghetti Western. This is more of a blockbuster Western. So we're going to go with Silverado. Filled with tons of well-known actors getting their bones and a lot of stuff. But yeah, this is more of a blockbuster Western. Before blockbuster Westerns were a thing, I think. But yeah, I'm going to go with Silverado. I'll just round out the whole Western theme because I'm sure Nate's going to throw in a Kung Fu movie to totally cleanse the palate.
to keep it in the spirit of Westerns and Kung Fu, he's going to choose Shanghai Noon.
There you go.
Shanghai Noon's a Jose movie. That's not really a Nate movie, man.
We got to make it a Nate movie.
Wow.
1985, right? That's Silverado?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got like Kevin Kline, Jeff Goldblum, Linda Hunt, Kevin Costner's also in it, Dan Glover, is it not Alfred Woodard, dude, like everybody's
Brian Dennehy.
John
Brian
Cleese?
Dennehy's in it. And from Home Improvement, it's got the neighbor Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
He's in it. You get to see his full face. Like, this movie's got everybody in it.
Rosanna Arquette's in it too?
Yep. Rosanna Arquette. And just a bunch of, there's also a bunch of, like, at the time there were B-rated actors that have become somewhat actors now. Ever see Jeff Goldblum?
Yes.
Yeah,
Nice.
so it'll be fun.
Another shoot 'em up. All right. There you guys have it. Till next week. Out.